I got a stick. Ooh, I got a stick. I got a stick.
Hello, and welcome to a very sexy episode of Best Butties. Today we're going to be talking about our deepest, darkest desires. Today, I'm joined by Rob.
Can I get an oh yeah?
Brandon.
Buenas noches.
And Jack.
Hi.
So we're talking about fantasy today. Hopefully someone will reveal their nichest and kinkiest kink that they have today. But realistically, we're going to be talking about probably Final Fantasy and other nerd shit. So, how have you been, boys?
Mine's both.
Yeah, why can't they overlap on that Venn diagram?
I mean, you know, we've all probably rubbed one out to Tifa, so
It's Tifa's toes. That's what we're all into.
That Italian senator went to town on it, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
What's this?
Yes, in the middle of the thing where there was the Tifa porn over the Italian live stream through to some Italian government officials.
Whoa. Hell yeah! I didn't know the
Just
Italians
going
were
to
like
town.
that.
Yeah,
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, I know,
Approaches
but
the
maybe
piece.
give it 10 minutes. Just finish doing your actual job first. But
Before you spank one out on your 3D rendered porn. I'm assuming that was what it was, right?
Yeah. Italian government meeting interrupted by Final Fantasy VII porn.
Oh.
Tifa Lockhart hentai video was accidentally shown during a Zoom meeting of the Italian Senate.
Was there any octopus or tentacles or anything involved, or was it just?
You asking for a friend there, Rob? Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a link?
that's
yeah?
disgusting. Where is that video exactly?
Before we get into a rabbit hole of pornography, I actually have butt stuff this week. I genuinely have butt stuff this week. And
Proud
I
of
can't
you.
believe I said that out loud. But after we had that heartwarming story, which won me last week's, I think it won me last week's. I can't remember anything at the moment.
Yes,
Yeah, it did. I'm
Yes,
still
yes.
angry about it, but go on.
I went online and ordered the sourdough starter from Carl Griffith's sourdough kit. So
Oh.
I'll keep
okay.
everyone updated and on my little sourdough journey, and maybe we'll get it up on socials when I eventually do make it at some point. But
Yeah,
yeah.
we need a regular check-in on your sourdoughing.
When's it arriving? Do you know?
I don't know. I literally did today because I thought of it a few hours ago. But I thought it'd be
nice.
a cool little thing. So how can I expense it?
Oh,
It was
yeah, great.
$2.
Put it through to the accountant that we've definitely
Oh,
got.
yeah?
Yeah. That's my mum as well. She's really multifaceted when it comes to this podcast. So just send it to Rizla.
Big fan.
She's been on 5 minutes, and I reckon she's the most liked member of this podcast.
Probably. But that is a low bar. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's just among us.
Yeah.
What a
Oh
legend.
dear. There we are. It'll happen. But yeah, let us know. I want to hear how your bread journeys go, because also sourdoughs. It's not easy to make. So I'm looking forward to seeing you.
It's gonna go horribly wrong.
Yeah, this will be good. You'll be a pro at the end of this. You can make us all bread. We can all break bread soon. So that sounds fun.
Do we have any more butt stuff, lads?
Well, and I'm sure the viewers listening at home, if you call them viewers, you get the idea, may be wondering, hey, what's the current scoreboard looking like, right? This is episode 11, so there's been 10 victors so far. Wonder how that plays out for the stats. And now, let's just go. First place, Ryan, you are storming ahead with 4 victories. Okay, give yourself a little sourdough pat on the back there. The rest of us all are tied for last with 2 wins.
2 wins.
So it's just a fleet of losers, really.
It's weird because I thought when we sort of totaled this all up, I swear, Jack, you were also ahead, but I think you just get through to loads of second
Always
rounds
second
and then
place.
Always the bridesmaid, yeah. Whereas myself and Robert really do just sort of trail behind at the first hurdle.
We follow our hearts, though.
At least whoever ends up having to get the tattoo will have company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a Triforce at this rate. It's going to.
Well, that'd be pretty cool. I'd quite like that. That'd be good, right?
Yeah, but should we? I don't know if we've actually discussed this live. Probably because I think we only came to the decision at the end of last time's episode. But how we sort of doing it as a season of Best Butties, if you will. So we're going to go for 16 episodes of us putting forward our champions of a particular category. And then once we've got 16 different winners, we're then going to go on to the best of the best, where we will sort of randomise them, put it into a good old tournament bracket, and then we'll probably spend an episode or two going through to see what is the absolute pinnacle of stuff. So we may have things like, a sourdough starter going up against Pokemon Go. Oh yeah, and
Simple.
things like that.
All going to be simple.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to try and debate what we prefer and why. But I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, all that to look forward to, right? Like, who's going to back what as well? Is it the people that originally create? Because surely that.
Well, it's
might
just
not
the
work
whole. It's just everyone will put their options forward. You'll probably have some people will have a predetermined, allegiance, in as it may be their option, but it might well come down to it where you think, no, actually, I'm really going to stand for Guts from Berserk as opposed to my own whatever.
If Guts wins it, I don't know what I'm going to say. I think he's mentioned in almost every episode.
So he's out front already. Then it's looking good, looking good for Guts.
Oh dear. That'd be good though. That'd be good. Good to see what sort of comes, which is nice. I do have some butt stuff as well, although it's more to do with email, which, at the email that we've got that you can email us on if you have your ideas on the best husbando or the best or deadliest animal combatant. But you can email us at bestbuttieспod@gmail.com. And our one listener, Edward, he's back again. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. Have you boys seen this email? Have you actually looked at this?
I had a look. I can't remember what was on it.
Well, he was.
I have no idea.
Well, he was messaging after episode 8, so that was our craze episode. But he said it's warmed his heart. He said he might also write it's warmed his heart. The hate's warmed his heart, so that got a bit heated, that one. But he said he's going to try and write us a theme tune, but it might sound a lot like the Seinfeld theme if he's not
Which
careful.
would just be perfect.
Actually, 100%. Like, we want that, Ed. So just send that in. We'll check it out. It'll be better than the thing that we got or tried to get from a certain site.
That was your fault.
Yeah. I assume we're not using that.
Hey, we're using this, and this is what we've got at the moment. Can you do something? They just regurgitate what we already have.
It was pretty impressive. We could drop it in here. Do you want to drop it in here and we could just listen to it? People can let us know. Like,
I'm not
give us a
editing this one, so yeah.
That's okay.
We'll
Brandon's
see how I'm
editing this
feeling.
one.
We'll see what
It's
happens.
good. I'll send
No
it to you.
promises.
Give us an email. See if you like it. Maybe somebody else likes it. But he has also said he has no idea what this jav is about, as he's never been on the internet before. And also Smash or Pass, Walter White from Breaking Bad, which is that's a fucking good one. Walter White would make a good Smash
that
character.
was good.
That was good.
That would work out pretty well. Jav is just some fun videos.
Goes well with the fantasy theme, I suppose, for some people.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what your fantasy is. Yes.
I don't know what it is. Google it, it'll work. I promise you it's fine. Pinky promise. It's
Safe search
fine.
off. Don't be a bitch.
And actually related to that, which is a hell of a sentence. There's a thing on Netflix at the moment, which is, I think it's called Risky Business, like Risque Business. And it's a Korean show of some Koreans going to Japan and like looking at the sex industry there in general. So they go around that multi-story sex shop that they've got.
No, but go on.
Looking very confused. at different things, and then they interview Jav actresses and actors and stuff. There's a fucking Jav actor who I did not know about because I'm an innocent boy.
Just
Called-
innocent man.
Just normal men.
just normal men, just innocent men.
men.
So Brandon needs to drop that in there. He's been in about just over 11,000 videos with over 10,000 different women because he is in the almost exclusively in their debut videos. And he's renowned for being able to make different kanji when he finishes on them. So that is
What the fuck
That's
are you talking
incredible. Does he what? He like signs his name to finish? Look at
yeah. He's called the name he goes by is Shimiken Ken Shimizu, and you can Google him at work whenever you want.
Sorry, hold on. 11,000 videos. If he's recording a video a day, that's 30 years solid.
He's been in the
shagging. That's a lot of shagging, right?
I mean, apparently he can go for a long time. He's a master of it. Apparently.
What does he count as a video? Like a YouTube short? Is that a video? That's a short. I wouldn't count that as a video.
huge on TikTok, old Shimmy Ken. He's
Yeah, he's just boomerang of him ejaculating this kanji on the back of.
He's in his 40s and he's been part of the industry since very early.
We're not talking nonce early, are we? I'm assuming.
Don't think so.
Well, nonce early is a different age bracket in Japan compared to the UK.
True.
He's gone all over the place.
Yeah, I bet he has.
He's been in so many. It's really hard to track down how long he's. I'm looking through his Wikipedia thing here now, and there's like some amazing film titles.
That's a video and a half a day. If you work for 20 years, that's.
I mean,
madness.
I guess he's just doing multiple in a day. He keeps wearing T-shirts that say "sex instructor," and I guess
Oh my God.
fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, no, actually, it's quite a fun watch. Risque
bet.
Business. It's very funny. There's interesting stories from the actors and actresses on there.
Jack says, clasping his slightly sweaty shaft. Apparently, I heard on this is on one of the people watching YouTube. He has an ex Jav actress on his videos, and she was talking about what it was like on set and like what it was like being an actress. And apparently, when the blokes couldn't ejaculate, they would use mushroom soup.
I can't believe how depraved this episode is already.
Mushroom soup.
Mushroom soup, because it's got the same kind of like look.
No,
like,
How is it?
consistency.
Surely it would be
It's
dark.
true. Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what mushrooms.
Yeah, and if it's chunky or not.
Let's be honest, they crack open a can of Heinz and just splat it on there. Can you imagine if they got the wrong tin and it's just tomato soup? But oh my god, take it to the fucking hospital.
A bit of chicken noodle. How'd that get in there?
A nice mulligatawny.
Wait, there's minestrone. There's bits in this. How is he?
Chunky oxtail. What's going on?
He's got worms.
We're just listing soups we know now. So.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I can't remember what we were talking about before talking about Jav, but the email, Ed's email.
Yeah. Ed's email. He did
Thanks,
say
Ed. You see what you've done. You see what
Truly
you see what you've caused.
the Shimiken of our audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but hey, I'm sure it's a compliment.
11,000 videos. I'd be a husk of a man. I'd be.
You know what you would be? You'd be a prune, a literal prune, probably.
He's
by
only
the end of that.
5'4".
Yeah, it used to be 6 foot, but after that many videos.
I can't believe, like, on dating sites in this game, in the UK, everyone's like, "Oh, you've got to be 6 foot," but in the Japan, 5'4" is the magic number. Let's just go now. Let's just go now.
That's oh god, jeez. There we are. Very good. Very good. Wasn't there another segment you wanted to try? Well, a segment? Do you want to call it that?
Sorry, I'm still reading about this guy. You're
my
going to have
God,
to just
jeez.
cover for me for a minute while I...
I think I know what
okay.
Jack's choice will be for this next.
So we were going to, I guess, step in for Jack. We were going to talk just very quickly because every single episode, as you dear listeners will hear quite a lot, we do rip into each other quite a lot. So we've decided to take just a little bit of time just for all of us to say one thing that we've enjoyed this week, or I suppose you could say since the last episode. So we'll just go around, and we're not allowed to rip into each other. Nice thing, no nice comments only. Okay, so yeah, who wants to begin? Shall I begin? I'll say what I really liked.
If you've got one, yeah, you go for it, because we've just decided that this would be a thing, so I'm kind of figuring out my
What
choice,
you want to say?
to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah.
what have I really enjoyed since the last episode? Okay, I've been away for work. Right now, I didn't enjoy where I went. I won't disclose where it was, but it definitely wasn't Paris. And the thing that I actually enjoyed was an egg custard tie I had there, which was fucking incredible. It was like not a traditional egg custard, which is like flaky. It was more like a harder pastry. And it was like glazed on the top with some sugar, and it was amazing. And I ate that
With mustard
looking at
soup.
the
Mushroom
with
soup.
with my mushroom soup on my face because I was in the middle of a shoot.
Getting glazed.
Exactly, yeah. While looking at the Arc de Triomphe. So that's what I enjoyed recently. That was good. That was really good.
Hey, he's got love an egg custard. Do you have a bit of like nutmeg on top as well? That's the game changer for an egg
So
custard.
it was just like imagine like not as thick as a creme brulee, like a crust like that, but it was like glazed on the top. So and it was clearly put under an oven or something. So it was like shimmery. Does that make sense?
That's good.
Shimmery.
Yeah, no, I'm picking up what you're putting down, man. Well into that.
It was good. So that was what I enjoyed. So go on. Who wants to go next? And let us know what they enjoyed for the week. Nothing.
I mean, again, that silence says a lot about all of us, really.
No. No. So, my recent obsession since last October has been the National Hockey League, so ice hockey in America and Canada. And there's like a cursed team which everyone hates, but I kind of love, called the Toronto Maple Leafs, quite popular. And they've not made it past the first round of the playoffs in like 20 years, but they finally did it. And my favourite thing is there's a huge fan on YouTube who like live casts his reactions to stuff, and like he just genuinely lost his shit in such a nice and heartwarming way. I love like sport fan reacts video like that because it's so wholesome and you really feel it. So that's my wholesome thing of the week that I enjoyed.
That's nice. I like that. I can't imagine a Canadian, actually they are Canadians,
Yes, they are
being
Canadian.
aggressive. That must be a lot of apologising.
Only in hockey. That's where they let it all out.
I'm sorry, okay, but you suck. Oh dear, that's nice. I like that. A little hockey.
Mate, it's difficult, isn't it? I'm going to go with, I mean, I tend to go through phases with what music I listen to. I don't know if anyone else has the same. I mean, maybe there'll be certain genres and what have you I'll listen to more during specific things. Like I'll maybe listen to heavier stuff when I'm in the gym, or fast-paced things when out running, stuff like that to fit the mood. But otherwise, say like for generally driving about and stuff, it does sort of fluctuate. I'll go through phases of being in specific genres. And this sort of past week, actually, because I'm quite a big fan of more classic rock and older shit as well. And I got really back into the band Blue Oyster Cult. Just a lot of hits, man. It's been good shit, and I've not listened to them for a long time. And so it was cool re-listening to that shit. And when the weather was mildly nice, I can have a window down, just cruising. It's good. It's a vibe, man. So I'm going to go with the Blue Oyster Cult.
What is a... I probably have listened to them before, but I can't think of any hits. What is a hit?
They're-
No, at least one.
Yeah, so Don't Fear the Reaper is their big,
okay.
huge hit. That everyone will really know that. But they've done a lot, man. Like Burning for You, it's great. Dancing in the Ruins is real good. I Love the Night. There's tons of good shit that doesn't really get played because everyone just goes, play Don't Fear the Reaper again. Which is a banger, but no, they do a lot of good stuff, man.
I like that. With your roof down as well. That must be a massive vibe. I like that a lot. Yeah. Try a bit of that. Go on, Jack. That was your one thing. That you
yeah, no, sorry, I hadn't realised you'd all finished.
he's got 17 tabs open to decide exactly what it is that he really enjoyed. And he's
So my highlight of the week is Jap. No, it's harder, like, because I suggested this to you guys, and I hadn't actually thought about it for myself. I just thought it'd be a good idea. I've got two, but I'll go with a podcast I love listening to. They've just like started ramping up again. It's a D&D podcast, but it's actually entertaining, unlike a lot of them that run for 3 hours and are just fucking mind-numbing by the end. This is like half an hour to an hour max. Half an hour, I think, because they do it in 2 halves. It's Australian D&D podcast, Dragon Friends. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. And it is well worth a listen. It's actually funny and entertaining, whereas other popular D&D podcasts, I can't fucking listen to all of that. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
You trying to start beef for Critical Role because we're too small a podcast to fight Critical Role on this Jack?
I love what they set out to do. I can't listen to their stuff. It's too long.
Yeah.
And there's too much to catch up on. And I don't think what they do is particularly... I don't think they're doing anything particularly interesting or fun or funny with it. Like, they're very much telling rote stories. Whereas Dragon Friends, they're all comedians. They've got no fucking idea what they're doing. And that makes for a much more entertaining time. And it's about half an hour long, which I can do.
I'm literally saving this on my Spotify as we speak.
Yeah, go from the beginning.
I might do the same, yeah.
Go from the beginning, and because it's one storyline through. It's fantastic. There's a comedian there. I've discovered all of these Australian comedians who are just fantastic. But Michael Hing plays Friezo, and he's like, in real life as well as his character, he's just playing himself. He's just psychotic. He's just a pure sociopath. He's killing everyone, everything, betraying his friends left and right. He's really just absolutely crazy. And then you listen to him on like other podcasts and things, and you find out that is just him. That's just how he sees the world. And it's low-key sort of terrifying, but it's great. It's good fun. He has a terrible chongus also, so that's
hope that
a
clears
recurring
up.
thing. Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw. So I've just followed that to check that out at some point. I just went through the descriptions, and one name massively stood out, featuring the halfling rogue Bobby Pancakes.
Bobby Pancakes, yeah, played
That's
by
incredible.
Simon Griner. He's fantastic. Fuck a sucker ding dong is one of his catchphrases. That's yeah.
It's what? Sorry.
Fuck a sucker ding dong.
Excellent. You know what? That should sell it to everyone. That sounds
It
brilliant.
really should. It really should. It's a good time. It's great. There's loads to catch up on, and by the time you finish, it will be getting into their latest series. So there'll be more. But they do it all live, like twice a month or once a month, and then cut it into half-hour shows that go out like up to the intermission.
Half hour is perfect.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree. Like, some
really
podcasts
good.
are way too bloody long, unless you're on a really long drive.
This podcast.
But the perfect length of a podcast, I would say, is 1 hour and 20 minutes on average across 10 episodes. Which, to be fair, that's what you sort of see across Spotify.
Give or take 10 minutes bonus rant time. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, boys, that was really nice. I like that. That was a nice heartwarming.
Yeah.
Heartwarming.
I did
segment.
like that. Actually, that was nice. Right, time to rip the shit out of each other.
What are the brackets, lads?
Do we want some brackets? Brackets.
Yes,
Okay, so
please.
first up is me and Jack, and then second up is Brandon and Ryan. So
Robert, go
Jack,
first.
okay, don't do the tab thing again because I'm gonna walk to your house and slap you around the face if you do it again.
You'll get there by the time I finish, yeah.
yeah. Okay, right. So the topic is fantasy, which we've already just discussed, which you can take in many different ways. And while I was coming up with this, it's like, oh god, I could take this down a really like horny route, but where's that going to get us? Really?
Robert's is being stepped on.
So I went down like a fantasy. I wouldn't say it was setting. I think it was more of like an ideal. I think an ideal. That's the wrong thing. An idea, an imagination. I think
A lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle. I'll go with that. Sure. And I was like, what was really cool when I was a kid, right? And I was like, whoa, how fucking cool is that? And I wish that was real. And what I would really love to have been real when I was a kid was Toy Story. And I think Toy Story as like a fantasy, as something that it will never happen unless the toys do actually get up and start doing shit, is awesome. And as a kid, I was like, how cool is it that my toys could possibly do that? Or it'd be cool if they did do that. What would they talk about? With all of the cars that I had, I don't think they'd talk very much, but maybe they would. And the one action man that I had. And I was like, that's really cool, because as a kid going to see those films, or well, it was mainly Toy Story 2, I think, because that was 99, I believe, when it came out, so I was like 6. I didn't watch Toy Story 1 when it came out, but I remember watching that film. I was like, this is the coolest thing. This is the coolest idea, and it is, in essence, quite simple, right? Like, it's nothing complicated. It's not like high fantasy, like elves and all that shite or whatever. Not that it's shit, by the way. You enjoy that all you want. Or like space stuff, because Star Wars was also one of the things like, I can't do that again. But Toy Story is like really fucking cool. Like, how cool is Toy Story, right? Did not agree?
No, it's good. No, it's a good show.
It's left field. Like, I would never have thought you would have picked Toy Story in a million years. And yeah, like as a kid, that's all I would think about, because I had the Buzz and Woody and Ryan on both of their feet, because I'm a fucking nerd as a child. Still am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a Woody like doll, like proper version with the pull string and everything and the hat.
Whose
that I'd
voice
carry around
was in
almost everywhere.
Whose voice was in the voice box? Was it
It was
Tim Allen? Not Tim Allen. Fucking Tim Allen. Tom Hanks. Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear. Was it Tom Hanks?
It could well have been. It might have been Tom Hanks' brother. I don't know. Because he's who voices Woody in everything that isn't the movies.
Yeah, he does a load of shit, doesn't he?
Because they sound almost exactly the same. Jim Hanks, I think it is, isn't it? But yeah, where Tom Hanks doesn't want to do stuff with his voice, his brother comes in and does it and gets a paycheck. Like, that's just the deal they have.
I love that you can get Tom Hanks, but from Wish, to do everything else.
Yeah, we have Tom Hanks at home.
So yeah, I went for Toy Story because I think we think a lot about sort of now, like what we think now and what would be the best now, right? But don't really think too much, except for like Craze episode and stuff, where we probably did like go back a little bit. It was like, really, that was a lot of my childhood was spent like thinking about different things to what I think about now. I think Toy Story was quite a big part of our lives, right? And a part of our generation's lives, because it was like our generation / generation before, probably, because the first one was 95, I think. So, and it was the first animated movie. How cool is that? So that probably blew people's minds as well. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. So
you mean first like computer animated?
Fully computer. First fully computer animated film. Yeah, that was released. So yeah, so that's what I went for. I went for Toy Story, which I think is quite cute, right? And
that's cool.
It's quite cool, right? Like I like that.
It's different. I like that.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Question about Toy Story though. Like, what is defined as a toy in that world? Like, at what point is it not a toy?
Because it's sentient, right? And they've got their own thought. So
yeah, but like a toaster isn't sentient. The bed isn't sentient in Andy's room.
So weird you said toaster, because that was the next thing I was thinking of, because I guess it's not.
I was thinking about dildos, but that's just me, isn't it? So do you reckon
I mean, that was what I was building to, because that is a toy, but is it a toy in the...
because it wasn't like an R-rated film, maybe the dildos also were sentient.
Yeah, but it's like a separate film, which is actually based in like Andy's mum's bedroom. Like, it's just all the sex toys coming to life at night.
Is this a thing that's like answered though, because I haven't seen Toy Story 4, but isn't there like a sport
The
like
director's
plastic
cut.
cutlery thing that becomes sentient
Yeah.
when it's played with?
Wait, what?
So it
Forky.
still checks out.
Yeah. Forky.
Like,
Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? It's going to be the magic of friendship brings these things to life.
but
right?
I think based on that logic, 'cause I think I've seen Toy Story 4. I think I watched it on a plane and cried because that's what you do on a plane. But I think this is how we justify the Toy Story universe and establish its key rules. I think it's when children play with it. So unless like
Okay, so if you're
Kids are
accidentally
messing around
leaving
with
things
sex toys.
around, then that's where the issues, that's where the trauma comes in.
Just
Of
lucky
these
draw.
toys.
I
Sorry.
really regret suggesting fantasy because this is God,
It's interesting because the sort of counter argument I did think in terms of the Toy Story universe, it wasn't that avenue, but instead the movie Chucky. That's where it goes somewhat
Child's Play.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on counter offer, but
fair.
it was also a funny movie. So I don't know then.
Well,
Let's see what
Child's Play is
Jack.
good. There's a TV series based on Child's Play, which is supposed to also be really good, and I've just not gotten around to watching it. But yeah, that's unrelated. So my go. There's a lot of shit. Like fantasy. Okay, yeah. I think most of us are going to go with fantasy settings, which the Toy Story thing is. And I mean, the one there that everyone's going to say is Lord of the Rings, but actually, when you look into it, Lord of the Rings is just a bit fucking boring to read through everything. Like, I love it, it's really good, but delving into the actual setting, it's a bit much.
Is it unique? Lord of the Rings isn't very unique, is it? Really?
I mean,
Hypothetically
was-
speaking, maybe we should get into that in the next bracket.
Like, it was, and then everything was sort of based on it and pulls from it. Like, it's like the first big example of that hitting the mainstream in the way that fantasy settings have. Like, you don't get a lot of modern fantasy without it. And I fucking love it. Like, I love reading it, but I just think there are more interesting versions of that. And so I'm going to go with definitely my favourite series of all time, my favourite author, and I think maybe the best satire of all time, and that's the Discworld. Which I think Terry Pratchett, with his Discworld, actually managed to pull apart all of the things that I don't enjoy about Lord of the Rings, as well as the things that are really good and unique to it, and just really pay homage, but also parody those sort of the writers like Tolkien and Dickens and Shakespeare in a way that's fantastic. Like, I've read every single book in that series, and that is not a small series. There's like 41 books, and they're just fantastic. They follow the Discworld over like decades. You get fantastic characters like Vimes and Granny Weatherwax, and he's truly just phenomenal author, and absolutely tragedy that he died so soon from his Alzheimer's. Related to that as well, he was continuing to write during his Alzheimer's as it progressed, to the point where he couldn't write himself. He would have to dictate his books to his assistant. But also he put out phenomenal documentary that's still available on the BBC to do with his Alzheimer's and choosing to die and going to Dignitas and stuff, which is actually fantastic to watch. But yeah, Ankh-Morpork, Discworld, everything to do with that, I think is far and away the best fantasy setting.
Yeah, fuck, that's pretty good. Yeah, that is very good. Go on.
I was just going to say, like, I agree with you, and it's my big blind spot in fantasy literature, because I spent a lot of my younger years and like early 20s reading a lot of fantasy. Then I decided to become the standard white boy of reading horrifically wanky novels, and then never stopped. So, like, I've never read any Discworld novels, so, like, where would you recommend starting?
Not at the beginning. I think Color of Magic, although it's number one, is maybe his roughest work. He was still working stuff out. So I think you go in and choose the sort of settings. Like, the third book is with entirely new characters, with some of my favourite characters, the witches. And that's... I'm pretty sure the third book is Equal Rights. That's a fantastic look at sort of gender and the politics around that from a fantasy perspective, and it's based on his daughter Rhianna Pratchett, who now writes for video games, wrote the reboot of Tomb Raider and things like that. Is a very cool woman in her own right. So that's really good. Granny Weatherwax is fantastic as this witch who lives out in the forest and just doesn't give any bullshit time of day. She practices headology, which is just manipulating people. She is extremely witty. She's fantastic. There's also the Vimes books where you want to go in with... I can't remember if it's Guards or Night Watch that comes first, but the City Watch books are absolutely fantastic as well. Guards is the first, is introduced. Vimes is like no-nonsense city guard, friend of the people, fucking working class guy who gets thrown into nobility and just does not give a shit about any of it. Is just trying to do the best for his city and the people in it. And has to put up with the rest of his squad, which includes a werewolf, a troll, a zombie, who's also a campaigner for Equal Rights for the Dead, a dwarf, a recovering and teetotal vampire, and his wife, who's a noble with an obsession for breeding pseudo-dragons. It's really fucking good. It's all really cool. Good.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, so the witches, all that, and then go back and do the Rincewind stuff with some of that knowledge of the world under your belt, and a bit more sort of forgiving of some of the rough edges of the first two books. And yeah, just Death throughout the books, fantastic character, one of my favourite characters in fiction, loves cats, loves people, and really... just everything about it. Like, there's so many good things about Discworld that I can expand on, but maybe I'll say I'll call it there, and we can make our decision. And if I come back in the next round, then I'll list some other bits.
But does Discworld have an asthmatic penguin?
Oh,
No, it does
I love
not.
him.
Mic drop. Fuck. Yeah, that's
Weezy
tough,
can sing, man. He can sing.
I
fucking
haven't read any of the Discworld books. My dad's super into. He's read probably all, if not most. But I have seen they did a couple of like animated movies for some of the, based on some of the books. And there was also, they might have done two, but there was sort of like a series of like Christmas specials. So it was like over like I think 2 or 3 hour-long episodes for a Christmas like years ago for the Hogfather, and that was really good. So I do have an appreciation for it and Terry Pratchett's works. But on the flip side, yeah, I was huge into Toy Story as a kid, and I don't know, man. It's really difficult, actually. They're both really solid choices.
I kind of mulled it over just then, and like, even though I really want to be into Discworld, it's only something I know that everyone speaks really highly about, and maybe if we'd recorded this in like a couple of years when I've actually read it, Jack might have had it. But I literally had that fantasy as a kid, like the Toy Story. Like, that's all I used to think about when I watched it. So I got to give this one to Rob. So well done, sir. You've got my vote.
I think I might be going Toy Story as well. There's just something
It's fine.
about
You're all wrong, but it's fine.
There we are.
I probably
Objectively wrong.
I don't know, man. I think it's appealing to. Obviously, they're appealing to somewhat different audiences, and the Discworld stuff, it's more mature, there's a lot more satire, and it's very clever, but there's just something, I don't know, man, those Toy Story movies, they are just...
They capture the imagination of kids and adults, which is really cool. Like,
that's
cool.
it, but I think the whole, fantasy, make-believe, and everyone as a kid, to be honest, regardless of if you've, actually seen Toy Story, if you're of a much older generation, then you would have been, that make-believe and imagining that your toys have come to life and doing shit. And it's just that sort of... It's captured something that I think everyone has as a child, and it's probably a fantasy everyone has thought of.
But this is very much Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, and maybe that's it, because they sort of go down the toilet at a certain point.
Yeah, but Toy Story was generation, right? I guess I'm
to
playing
the point where we
generation.
end up with things like Lightyear this past year.
Well, let's ignore
Yeah, fair.
that. Let's ignore
Yeah, don't worry about
Yeah.
that. But I mean, on the flip side, there was it was either, I think it's Toy Story 3, where the like factory reset Buzz and he turned Spanish. Incredible,
You said Spanish, yeah. That's
incredible, right? And Mr. Potato Head strapped to a tortilla, genius. It's got my vote, mate.
So
He's
welcome
done it.
to the Toy Story fan cast. Now we've changed.
Yes.
Cool. I'm leaving the podcast. I can't abide this. This
Take
is
your chapterless books and fuck off, mate. Toy Story's where it's at.
but they're chapterless because that's not how life is.
No, it's
Life
true.
doesn't have chapters.
No, is it true?
There's
I don't know.
nothing
I
It's
of
getting
value
deep.
in Toy Story behind like
He's salty.
a fun movie for an hour. I am salty.
He's salty.
I'm really fucking sorry because I loved Toy
I've
Story
been
as a
there.
kid. I could not go and sit through it now. I'd get bored.
Oh, that is utter bullshit.
Bullshit.
If you watch Toy Story 1 and 2, I'm
Jack,
not
your
saying 3
misery
and 4,
showing. Come on, man.
That's
Like,
fucking dog wank. Like,
They have nowhere near the wit or sort of entertainment of a Discworld book.
I mean, you to a degree, you're probably right, but we're not discussing one media versus another. We're talking about what setting and fantasy.
Yeah,
would we
and
rather have.
I think the Discworld
Yeah.
setting has so much
True.
more.
I think we're going on a
to
good
it.
feeling here, and you've lost. So just accept
Okay.
it. Accept it.
That's fine. The point of the podcast is we argue over this, and I'm saying you're fucking idiots.
Well, look, we've all been there. I felt that anger when you picked a sourdough starter over cheesy garlic bread last week.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got
That's
to
fine.
just
Like
keep swimming.
you carry on going. I know I've lost, but I'm making my point. You're all fucking idiots. Toy Story is not maybe not even the best fantasy setting from a Disney film.
Oof.
Yeah, but it's oh my
It's
god,
not-
Jack. This
Well, if you agree with Jack, send us an email at bestbuttiespod@gmail.com. Or if you agree with
seamless.
us, Ed, let us know.
just get him on the phone. Get him on the blower.
Yeah.
Right, so shall we go on to bracket 2, which I presume is me and Brandon, unless someone else turns up.
Yeah, well, that's where I introduce our special guest, right? I guess
Rizzler.
shall I go first? Do you want to go?
I think we've had a little prelude to yours by the sounds of it, Brandon.
Yeah, should we get mine out of the way? So Jack politely explained that Lord of the Rings is shit.
I didn't
so
say
I'm
it was
gonna
shit. I just said there's a lot to it and it's very dry. Like
Yeah,
beyond the
it
actual
is-
stories of the books.
Now, mine's, in case you're not quite following along, dear listeners, my choice is Lord of the Rings. Now, I will start by saying I did try reading that book, and Jesus fucking Christ. So, don't worry about that. But, it came out in 1954, right? Fucking oldest tits, that book, right? Or series of books across that. Now, because of how old it is, it's probably easy to forget that, it's probably easy to think that Lord of the Rings is very generic. Oh, you've got elves living in trees, you've got dwarves down a fucking mine shaft, all that jazz. You've got evil orcs and whatever. But the thing you need to remember is, obviously, because of the age, that's basically started that trend. So many stuff that we see today where it's very sort of common, tropey settings and whatever, it's because of Lord of the Rings. That's what kick-started it. That's what's inspired D&D, even though I think Gygax is like, I've never read Lord of the Rings, nothing to do with it. Yeah, you did. Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, a multitude of high fantasy books, movies, games. It's all, in one way or another, it's really down to Lord of the Rings, right? It's just... It's captured that high fantasy magic and adventure and has just set, an entire genre ablaze from those books. So we wouldn't have Discworld without Lord of the Rings, right? Yeah, there's probably a lot of
but
things.
That's the point of Discworld. Discworld is a parody of things like Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's great, and it does it very well, right? But without Lord of the Rings, you wouldn't have that. And yeah, there's going to be tons of books that do different things better. There'll be grittier books. There'll be ones that have a more intricate adventure or, deeper storyline. But you just wouldn't have them without Lord of the Rings. The movies are brilliant. And most importantly, those movies have given birth to so many top-tier memes that you can't frown upon it. Hobbits returning to Isengard, God, incredible, right? The one does not simply walk into Mordor meme, phenomenal. And my axe, it's brilliant. We all quote them regularly. What about second breakfast? What about elevenses? It's inspired culture in so many ways across the plethora of decades since those books came out. Yeah, it's a bit dull to start off because he spends a chapter describing Gandalf's beard. Don't worry about it, just watch the movie.
Wait, is that true? Does he actually spend that much
It felt like
descriptive?
He does.
It felt
descriptive, the books.
So the thing with the Lord of the Rings books is they're phenomenal. They are well written and phenomenal, but you have to be all in at the beginning and ready to really engage with them.
He does go on a bit.
They go on.
The
Hobbit is better in that respect. The Hobbit is better in that respect, particularly because there's it's aimed more at children. But
that was the first, wasn't it? Hobbit? Was Hobbit
yes.
first?
Yeah.
The Hobbit was the one he would tell to his kids. The Silmarillion is technically, I think, the first because that's the one he wrote while he was in the trenches. But,
oh shit! I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. It is cool. The setting is cool. Like, I can't lie to you. Like, the films are awesome, and when you see them, and I've not read the books because I've read The Hobbit, and that was good. But the setting is really cool. You can't go wrong with it. Really, it looks cool and it sounds cool, and I understand it's like it's the origin, I guess, of all of this. That would be called high fantasy. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, that's high fantasy where it's elves and orcs and dwarves and swords and magic and.
That is sort of a... You can say it's high fantasy. More people would say it's actually on the lower end because magic is not common within Middle-earth. It's pretty much withheld to the wizards and some limited elven magics. The wizards basically being demigods or gods who are walking among mortals at that point.
Question.
It's what I would probably more say it's epic fantasy because it's more of the epic journey and the hero's journey coming from the Greek classics and things like that, like taking those themes forward. Brian, yeah, go on.
Is that the difference between high and low fantasy? The amount of magic that's present in the world? Because if so, I genuinely didn't know that, and that's cool.
One of the major ones, I think.
Oh, cool.
So what kind of fantasy would be considered as low fantasy? Because all of the fantasy I can think of in this sort of setting is all high fantasy. I can't.
It would be
think
like
of that
Conan, I guess. Stuff that's a lot less magic.
It's a bit of a like arbitrary subgenre thing.
I guess stuff like Game of Thrones must be kind of lower fantasy because you hear about magic, but like generally it doesn't. You don't.
There is
Yeah.
magic in Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
right?
but like, it's not widespread. Like for most of Game of Thrones, it is just like swords and shit until the last few books. Then it's like holy shit.
Magic was a thing that existed and has gone. But it's sort of similar in Lord of the Rings because there's like earlier ages. Like the books take place at the beginning of the Third Age, or the end of the Second Age. I can't remember where.
It's the third
Where
age,
they are.
right?
I think it's the beginning of the Third Age, because that's the delineation of the ages is like Sauron coming back as the start of the age or something. That's just off the top of my head. People are gonna fucking shout at us if they
Like
give a shit.
Ganondorf, yeah.
Yeah. Like earlier ages had magic everywhere, and then it sort of died out and become rarer and rarer and rarer. So maybe that's, I don't know. I'm not a fucking English literature student. I like fantasy books. I like dragons and wizards and shit.
They all seem to fuck themselves, the magic people, magic users, don't they?
I mean, what else would you do if you had
loads
magic powers?
Well, like, what, just kill everyone? Like, kill all the other magic power
Spend it
power
fucking
people.
yourself.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like,
What sort of Guy Ritchie movie
Abracadabra.
statement was that? What?
you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of other examples, but you never get that much magic in a world. It's because there was a big war and they all killed themselves or something, and then there's only like two. I feel like I'm just talking.
No,
Just stop talking.
yeah.
That's
Everyone's
how I get through most of
favourite
the podcast.
ancient
That's the-
civilization, super advanced, and then the
And
bollocks
there's
it
nothing,
all up.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck me, Jesus. Can you just fucking chill for 4 seconds and just progress or something together? One with the
Wow.
magic. Yeah? Right, cool. Ryan, what's yours?
Yeah, right, cool.
So mine is that this podcast will make any money. No, I joke.
That'd have won it.
That's a good
That
one.
would have
Okay,
won it.
Ryan wins.
No, I really, really struggled with this episode because I kind of, when I was thinking about this setting, because I initially proposed it. I don't know if you remember on the last podcast as setting. What's the best setting? But I decided on fantasy because I thought we could all be very horny, but we weren't. I'm very disappointed, boys.
I think we did. We made up for it in that first
yeah,
little bit.
no, I remember that was gross. And it was probably going to be an excuse for me to talk about Xenoblade for about 4 hours, but I think I would have lost, and we would have lost the one listener as well.
Yeah,
So,
don't make the same mistake I did. Don't choose something you love. Choose something that needs to win.
So I'm going to choose something I love that is kind of similar to Brandon's argument, but for a kind of different genre of fantasy. And I've gone for the Lovecraftian horror or the Cthulhu mythos. And before we get into it, I fully understand how much of an absolute cockwomble H.P. Lovecraft is. So off the bat, we are separating. Well, you can't really separate art from artist in this sense because his psyche of generally being a bit of a dick and isolated is why you get that whole viewpoint and the creation of his works, because he was an isolated loner that hated everybody, hence he writes Lovecraftian horror. But we're separating that, so
There's a big bulk of the art itself that is just racist. And
oh yeah,
there's
he
nothing-
calls his cat isn't it the N-word? That's what
Yeah,
he calls his
there
cat.
are subhumans that
Yep.
he frequently features in, particularly Innsmouth and other places.
So if we ignore the horrible subtext and focus on
Just skip past the racism, let's get to it. Big Squid Man, let's go.
yeah, I think it's
I just don't think it's going to match up to Toy Story. That's the problem.
I think it fuck yeah now. I think it's got a similar viewpoint of Lord of the Rings in terms of it's incredibly highly influential. We don't get things like John Carpenter's The Thing. We don't get a lot of Guillermo del Toro's films. Even Neil Gaiman cited Lovecraft as a big influence. So a lot of this kind of fiction that isn't quite high fantasy, and obviously a lot of the darker horror, 40k wouldn't be where it is without Lovecraftian themes, I don't think. Bloodborne, like one of the best games of all time in my opinion, would not be in existence, and I would be very sad. But just this whole fantasy of it being a kind of normal world, but gods actually don't give a shit about you, and they're enormous, horrible, scary things that we can't comprehend and turn us mad. It's really cool, guys. So vote for that instead of Twinkie Elves, or maybe vote for Twinkie Elves. It's your decision. I don't know. There you go. Questions done.
I mean, I don't know, it's good. There's cool Cthulhu stuff, and I'll ignore the racism that is present in his work. We'll skip past that for now. I think it was the start of this year, so I was interested. I got a collection of H.P. Lovecraft, because I think a lot of them are actually just short stories, really, from his stuff.
At the time, it was more common to write short stories and have them published in magazines and things than it was to write full novels.
And so I read through The Call of Cthulhu, which is a big one, and then On the Mountains of Madness. I didn't think they were that good, to be honest with you.
I can see, like, the thing I really like about it, I love those, the media where they've got that kind of fantasy, but it's mainly based in realism, and you just get the little tip, just the tip, hilarious, of the wider cosmos or entity, or in the case of monster movies, they don't show the monster that much, and it just leaves you wanting more, and that's what Lovecraft does so well. It gives you this sense of scale, that this, the cosmos is a horrific, uncaring place full of enormous beings that will fuck your day up, but you see a really small glimpse of it, and it's absolutely fascinating. That, it doesn't do the classic thing of the big monster reveal, which ruins the whole film, because you see it's like a whole bare ass, and it's like, well, it's not scary anymore because I've seen its whole ass. But yeah, I think that world is so horrific, but amazing.
Would we say that the settings that were spawned from that setting are actually more better than the actual setting it came from? Because sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, from my personal experience, for what I have consumed or watched or whatever, it's definitely one where once it entered, I guess, public domain, and the stuff that other people have done with those ideas is more so what's made it good than necessarily those initial stories, in my opinion.
You can do exactly the same argument with Lord of the Rings, setting the baseline for modern fantasy.
I tried it, and I lost a Toy Story of all things.
Fuck me. Your butt is hurt, mate. Jeez, see, we're following a theme here. It's
realistically, I do feel a bit bad bringing this up, because I really wanted to bring Xenoblade, but it would have been shit. So I wanted to play my cards right, but I clearly haven't. So I'm not going to be.
I think it's not that they're not played right. Like, you need
no,
to
it's
pick
cool.
Something that you back, yeah, for sure. And like the Warhammer stuff that you mentioned, sweet. Bloodborne, I've watched Bloodborne. I ain't played it. I ain't gonna ever play it because it's too scary. Really cool. Dark Souls, very cool. Like, that is very cool. I probably, because I'm an Unga Bunga, haven't read the books. But outside of Cthulhu, no fucking clue what the setting is. Like, there's Cthulhu, he's called Cthulhu because they can't actually say his name, can't comprehend, so on and so forth, and they go all like wacky and everything. But I guess I just don't know, whereas Lord of the Rings,
yeah, but it's the whole point. It's meant to be that great unknowable thing that we can't know because we're gonna go mad, and that's kind of the point. But
cool. I say it's cool, but I'm gonna go for Lord of the Rings for sure. Even though the setting is in its new essence overused, it is cool. Like,
I'm really interested to know, if Jack ties this, what your mum's going to think of Lord of the Rings versus HP Lovecraft.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Well, I really like HP sauce on my bacon sandwich, so...
What's funny about this, obviously I'm not voting on this because I'm biased, but if we'd have done this, I would have vibed a lot more with the Cthulhu stuff if we did this last year before I read his actual work. Because it is cool, the setting's cool, and and like you were saying with the what it is, where it's just such a huge scale that it breaks your mind. It's cool, man. It's interesting stuff, but
plus, like, some of his descriptions, like the colour of outer space, that short story still creeps me out just thinking about it. Like, it's not the enormous Cthulhu mythos stuff, it's the smaller stories which really get under your skin, and it's a lovely jubbly, but he's a racist.
Lovely jubbly.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not weighed in much yet. I do love Lovecraft as well, with the usual stipulation that he's a racist piece of the thing with Lovecraft, there are some absolutely blinding stories in that, like fantastic stories. Color Out of Space is one of the better ones. He also has some absolute duds, and there's also the fact that some of the ones that are fantastic maybe haven't aged as well, not purely because of the racism, but also just the things that they're trying to highlight as being afraid of don't work as well now as they did then.
Yeah.
I'd also perhaps say that the Cthulhu side of things is some of the weaker stuff because it's a bit more open about what the thing to be afraid of is. It's much like the more terrifying stuff is where there's no description and no way of knowing in any way what it is you're afraid of there. You know, I mean, the absolute weakest stuff that he's afraid of is mixing of races. That's really there's a lot about that is really prominent.
But when Rob was talking about Toy Story, and you know, I can't change the answer now, but my mind went to does anyone remember Dinotopia?
I thought you were going to bring Dinotopia as your
Lord,
like fantasy
books
world.
are amazing. It's literally
I
dinosaurs
100% thought that was going to be your pick.
But I thought about it.
Dinotopia, what is
that? Some amazing books with lots of pictures, Rob, so you'll be able to read it. Drawn by James Gurney, who's an incredible artist. And it's just dinosaurs and people in a fantasy setting, and that's literally it. But it's beautiful.
That's pretty sick.
It's really good. There was a Sky like
Live action,
TV series which was actually fine. Like it wasn't amazing, but it was good enough to warrant looking up and watching.
I should have done that, but I guess I'll leave it to you.
Dinotopia's good.
That's cool, man.
The thing that has me struggling to decide, I love Lovecraft stuff. As much as I tried to shit on it in the beginning, I was trying to justify why I would pick the parody over the actual thing. My personal opinion is it's much harder to write a good parody of something than it is to write the good like initial thing. Like finding that fine line between making something engaging and making it entertaining and comedic is really difficult. But Lord of the Rings I adore. I was reading Lord of the Rings in primary school. I would just sit there and absorb those books through The Hobbit, The Fellowship, Two Towers, all of that. The Silmarillion even, which is a slog, and I think even the people that love it would agree those first few chapters of the Silmarillion are slow going because they are just a history of a world in the driest sense of that. It is reading a history textbook for fun. They both have a similar role in inspiring everything that came after. You know, we don't have so many things without Lord of the Rings that we've been over. We don't have modern fantasy as we know it without Lord of the Rings. We don't have a lot of modern horror without Lovecraft. You know, we don't have The Thing, which is a phenomenal film. Equally, we don't have the Alien films, which are... I mean, the first Alien film is my favourite film.
Yep. Well done. You are right.
That is one that I will rewatch regularly, and I'm not one. We don't even have some of the best comedy horror, which would be Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. They're fantastic films, all of them. There's some real shit in there, but they're still good, even though they're terrible because they're just good bad in that way. I love Evil Dead.
I love Evil Dead. So good.
So that's it. But trying to think about like the settings themselves and not considering what they've inspired since is really difficult. I think have to go with Lord of the Rings.
Fair.
But it's a close run thing. But I think Brandon's right that the actual text and like reading through Lovecraft is maybe not as good as everything that people have done with those ideas since. There's some really fantastic reimaginings and stuff and work done with Lovecraft. Del Toro's done a lot, even recently he did a lot. There's also there's a book that is a retelling of a Lovecraft story from the perspective of a young black guy, and I'm trying to think.
That's on my Goodreads list. I can't remember what it's called.
It's Ballad of Black Tom.
That's it.
Fantasy horror. Victor Laval, who is revisiting the horror at Red Hook, which is one of the big Lovecraft stories, and he's reimagining it from specifically addressing the racism inherent in Lovecraft's work and trying to disentangle that, and it is fantastic. It's well worth reading. It's maybe not as long as I wish it was. It's really fantastic. I thought it was also going to get a TV adaptation, but I don't know if that's happened or not. But it should. I think Lord of the Rings stands better on its own, ignoring what came after it and what was inspired by it. So that's my answer.
So Lord of the Rings is done it. It's Lord of the Rings.
From those two, yeah.
Oh. Okay,
Now-
good job, guy.
Now we're
It's a good
moving in
moment.
to another section. A new segment
Oh,
Are we
we
not?
are. Shit.
to replace Smash or Pass, bring things away from video games a little bit further.
Yeah, it will. So we were talking about, I think it was mainly, Jack, if I remember correctly, you just hate Smash or Pass as to why this came about.
He really is the ray of the sunshine of this podcast. It's brilliant.
Apparently I just fucking hate everything. I'm the worst person on the podcast. I do the most talking, I ramble, and I'm just really unpleasant to listen and engage with. So yes, I hate everything good.
Put the little violin behind that.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
okay?
I really no, I didn't hate Smash or Pass. I just thought there were
It was done.
more, and
Yeah.
also we're not a video game podcast. We all play and enjoy video games, and I'm sure we'll talk about them loads, particularly if we carry on with our new segment at the beginning there that I can't remember the name of already.
Doesn't call it anything. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Something about being peachy. That's all I can think of. So we should take a step away from video games and do something different that isn't just us trying to fucking fight over what the best thing is, which is really what Smash or Pass was again.
So
That's totally fair.
we have sort of fumbled into a new idea that I believe, maybe permanently, maybe as a placeholder, we'll lovingly call Fact or Fucked. So I believe similar to Smash or Pass, there'll be a designated driver for each session. And how I'm doing it, we sort of spitballing it. This may change slightly, but I will basically present with a fact and a lie, and it is down for the remaining panel to decide which one is fact and which one is fucked. Now again, I don't know if I mean it's all nonsense anyway, nothing matters, but I don't know if you want to come to a team decision and you will settle on it, or if you're all giving your own opinions as to which is the truth and which is a lie. I don't know. It's all make believe. It's all
We
nonsense.
could do like a team thing, right? Team.
I think a team thing would be
decision?
nice. This is going to be like a friendship episode, right? Now that we've
It's going well so far.
yeah. So
I mean, Toy Story, you got a friend in me. It all fits.
exactly. There we go.
Lovecraft, the
So
Fellowship.
we're doing. We're doing the facts off of the. Sorry, did you say this already? You probably did. The facts off of what the topic is. Is that the
No,
plan?
I was going to get to that. Yes, so it will be two
okay, sorry.
facts loosely themed around the buzzword, which for this week is fantasy. So if we're all sitting comfortably, I have two facts for you, but one of them isn't. Okay, so potential fact number one: the song "Fantasy" by Mariah Carey was the first single by a female artist to debut at number one on the charts. Okay.
Don't Google it, Jack.
Yeah, don't Google him or anything, right? You can discuss between yourselves, but no outside.
I'm not Googling that quick. I'm Googling the song because I do not know off the top of my head.
I reckon you'll know it. It's a good
I
song.
need reminding.
I'm not
Yes,
gonna...
okay, I do know it.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Okay.
Potential fact number 2. That if you were to make an actual fantasy the size of the Mediterranean Sea, you would need 3.28 trillion 2-litre bottles of Fanta.
Okay, that's fucking amazing. Holy shit! That fact seems so fucking far fetched that feels like it's the one that's actually true.
I have done. Well, there's a sort of follow-up bonus note for each of these, so I have in that instance done some math.
Okay, exactly what I've just said. Like, this is one of those things, right, where you get told about like a song, and it's like, sweet. The chances of that being true or false are very fine, right? You could easily put that into being false, and it's like, oh, silly me. Yeah, she wasn't the first. It was XYZ. Whereas the Fanta bottle thing, the Fanta for the sea, that sounds so far fetched that it would be true. How many bottles of Fanta?
So that was 3.28 trillion 2-litre bottles.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of Fanta.
A lot of Fanta.
And this is all the sea, not just a sea.
It was the size of the Mediterranean Sea is what I'm basing this particular fantasy on. Other seas are available.
So what's your back of the paper towel maths on this? Walk us through it.
Well, I'm not going to go into the extra stuff until you've made your decision.
Yeah, because then we know, mate, if it's real or not.
I can't.
It's Mariah Carey. That's true. It's got to be.
You're going Mariah Carey.
You've gone too specific on the Fanta, I think.
I don't think this is a team decision anymore because I'm sticking with Fanta.
Yeah,
so
you can split. I don't know.
I'm also going to go Mariah Carey because I did not listen to the second one because I was listening to Mariah Carey. So
Brilliant.
I'm sorry. It's a good song though. It deserves it,
song.
even if it didn't.
To be honest, I considered making that just what I'd put forward, but didn't think anyone would know what it was. So,
and yeah, I just needed to be reminded, like
a refresher.
I didn't know it by name.
Yeah, it's good. So the fact is that Mariah Carey was the first. "Fancy" by Mariah Carey was the first single by a female artist to debut at #1 in the charts. Little bonus fact: it was only the second song to do so, just after Michael Jackson's "You Are Not Alone." So there you go. Now on to the math. So if you were to try and recreate the Mediterranean Sea using exclusively 2-litre bottles of Fanta, you'd need a lot more, because apparently the Mediterranean Sea is 3,750,000 cubed kilometres of currently water. So to try and break it down, just 1 kilometre cubed is 1 trillion litres.
Oh,
right.
That's a lot of Fanta.
Now,
yeah.
I tried going deeper in the maths to find out what the actual number of 2-litre bottles would be. The calculator wouldn't do it. Typing in 3.28 trillion times... Sorry, yeah, typing in 3.75 million times 1 trillion, and then would be divided by 2 because they're 2-litre bottles. It just didn't do it. It wouldn't let me put enough zeros in. Because I also considered going a step deeper into madness and convert into how many, if you were to fund your fantasy exclusively with the 750 milliliter bottles you get alongside a Tesco meal deal, how many of those meal deals and how much that would cost. But the math got too deep and the calculator couldn't handle it, so I had to settle with tweaking the number slightly.
But you'd have one very rich Tesco's.
Yes. Fun fact. Not a fun fact. A fact about Fanta. Famously, Nazi drink.
I don't know about famously, but is it a Nazi drink?
Yeah, it was created in 1940s Germany because there was a trade embargo against Nazi Germany, and so they couldn't get Coca-Cola products. So Fanta was what they came up with to replace Coke.
Oh, not
Did-
Pepsi.
did
Nazi
they-
Germany.
It's not.
Did they also say it? Fanta.
Fanta.
They must have.
Fanta.
I mean, that's my
Fanta.
perfect German accent. Yeah.
Still
Achtung.
Fanta.
But
Fanta's
yeah,
not
no,
Coke.
that's like it's owned by Coke.
Yeah, but
now.
it's not Coke. So how is it? How did they think?
Yeah.
Oh, this orange flavored drink is a replacement for Coke.
Yeah, if
They're
you'd said
Nazis,
Pepsi,
Ryan. I don't think their thinking was
Don't
really.
fair. Yeah, they're too focusing on the.
There are bigger
persecution of the
issues with the
Jews.
Nazi Party.
Yeah, I
than
still feel like
their
one of
choice
them-
beverage.
someone must have asked the question, like, dude, it's just not the same. It's too orangey. What is this?
It was all they got is orange.
They
But
also
they couldn't grow the Coke.
yeah
plants.
they couldn't get the cocaine
what's
in.
That is what Coke used to be, right?
Used to have cocaine in, yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it did. It had the coca leaf.
So what's
yeah.
it now? Like just
Sugar
baby powder.
and cum.
Baking powder.
No, don't slip that in there, Jack. No.
The other thing I remember recently is Lilt no longer exists because of Fanta.
Really?
No,
You remember
Lilt does
Lilt?
exist, but it's now like
No,
an offshoot
it's
of...
Fanta, pineapple, and grapefruit now.
Oh,
is
it's
what
the same.
Lilt has become.
It's the same shit. It's the same thing.
So,
Like,
yeah.
Well, I think
the Lilt logo looked like the Fanta logo at the end, pretty
Did
much.
it? I gotta be honest, I have not bought or drunk
Who's-
Lilt for
who's drinking
like a
Lilt?
decade.
Let's be honest.
Oh, piss
What's
off!
wrong
Lilt's
with Lilt?
amazing.
Oh,
when
Lilt's
was the
great.
last time you consumed a
Lilt was
Lilt?
really good. Lilt was really good. I have not consumed it in a long fucking time.
It was an alright drink, but I wasn't like fucking chomping at the bit to get a can of Lilt.
Do you think
And that's how we know you're not a Nazi.
if they were filling up the Mediterranean Sea with Fanta, do you think they'd happily breach an agreement between them and Tango because there's not enough Fanta? And they go like, Tango, you can get in on this as well.
It
Would
becomes
you
sort
taste
of
the
like a
difference
medley.
in the Mediterranean. Yeah,
Maybe.
But what would that taste like?
Probably
Would that
quite
be,
nice.
Would that
it
be
depends
different?
if they use UK Fanta or the really good stuff you get in Europe.
Oh, wait, I don't know if it's the same stuff, but African continent Fanta is really fucking good.
It's good.
They got all of the, we have all those different flavors of Fanta now. They didn't exist last time I went out into Africa, which was too long ago now, like coming up on a decade. I'm questioning my fucking mortality.
Right, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. Jesus.
But they had all of those different flavors. It was huge compared to everything else. I mean, Coke was huge there because there's a deal with the Coke company to get to with their deliveries of Coke to all of these villages that had really bad connections to road networks and things. They would still get the Coke out there for people to buy, and so they were putting medication in with the Coke delivery to get that out there, which is another really cool. For some reason, I know lots about Coca-Cola and the Fanta history. I'm finding
deep
out.
lore.
I'm suddenly discovering. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
no, carry on. I'm sure. Who owns Tango, and is it Britvic?
Britvic own Tango?
I think so.
This
They do-
is not a soft drink podcast. Shall we get on to the next one?
Yeah, but if I do win this, I am very tempted to go with best soft drink now.
Did you say orange Fanta, sorry, before you start, or did you say just filled with just Fanta?
It's the same liquid. It's the same
No,
volume.
it's
I-
not, because
well,
there's different types of Fanta.
Oh,
I
so-
did not specify a Fanta, and to be honest, when you're breaching several trillion litres, you're probably going to have to mix and match. I don't think you'd be able to accomplish it with just one
Yeah.
flavour. I think you'd need the 5 armies.
I would move to the Mediterranean if it was filled with
A
grape
Fellowship of
Fanta.
Fanta.
Yeah,
A
that's it.
Fellowship of Fanta. Oh, there we go. But do you know what? I used to really enjoy a big tub of Fanta while watching Toy Story.
A tub.
Tub.
A tub.
Tub, big old bucket tub, yeah,
Yeah,
like a lock and
trough.
lock. Lock and lock boxes that definitely weren't invented back in 1999, but we'll pretend they were. No, a Chinese tub. The They're not Chinese.
What?
That's the wrong thing to say.
Oh, like a takeaway
You know,
tub.
the little tub,
the little plastic.
takeaway tub you get the Chinese.
Do you not have
yeah.
cups?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Why are you putting liquids in there?
Did you lap it
difficult
up
living in-
like a dog?
Look, I was
What?
trying to make a really nice transition from this to the final bracket, and what's happened here is I've been shat on because I said tub. Now I meant big cup of Fanta. You know,
Motherfucker said
tub.
tub.
I think tub could apply to a big cup.
No,
Right?
no, it
No.
can't. No. This is like the mug cup debate, but it's not a debate because you're not fucking stupid.
I mean, I think Toy Story should lose because of Robert's.
No.
Opinion.
If you give this tub drinker the victory now, I'm going to be livid. Next time you come round my house for dinner, which we should do sometime, I'm going to serve
serving
all
you
of your
in a
drinks in Tupperware.
And watch all of the Lord of the Rings and get completely bored of it because all it is screaming for 9 hours and
Nah,
People
they
I
are
mean,
running
there's
into
not
each
that
other.
much screaming.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of screaming.
Except
more.
for that scene where he kicks the helmet and he actually broke his foot, which is
Oh
one
my
thing that
God.
everyone will tell you when you sit and watch.
Oh,
You
dear.
can't get through a viewing The Lord of the Rings without someone mentioning it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that probably did hurt.
Quite
Yeah,
a lot.
it's a good scream. I see why they used it.
Yeah.
He needed a drink of Fanta to calm himself down
did.
after that.
Quick, get
We're not
the
sponsored
tub.
by Fanta. Come on, let's crack
Or the
on.
Give me the Nazi juice, the orange Nazi juice.
Yeah, other fruity soft drinks are available.
Yeah, Tango. Anyway, Toy Story. Toy Story, much better setting than Lord of the Rings. Hasn't
Fuck
been
you.
done
No,
to
it's
death.
not.
It hasn't been
Look,
done to
Lord
A
of the
kid's
Rings
house.
wins.
No,
It's
no,
Lord
no,
of the
no.
Rings. It's not Toy Story.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
We're
what on
I'm sorry.
earth? Are you serious? Are you
There's
actually voting for
no
Lord of the
way.
Rings?
Like, hey, look, if Discworld had got through, there'd be a discussion. But it's not. It's Lord of the Rings.
Ridiculous. Oh my
Yeah.
god. That was probably the shortest final bracket
That
ever.
was
There
pretty
you go.
good. Yeah, I think we probably should have. I'm pretty sure the one or two times when you've then got like second Robert, it was a shutout. It was
What do you mean?
like we were done in seconds for that final bracket. It was like, oh
I-
yeah, Rob, that was really nice. Oh, there's the final bracket. Fuck off, Robert. It's not.
This is even Ed's noticed it in his first email. I get bullied on this podcast, so
Yeah, but okay,
You sort of deserve it.
No,
Let's-
no. I'm going to take my Fanta, my tub of Fanta, and I'm going to fucking shove it up each of your asses. Thanks for listening to Best Butties. It's been a fucking great time. Really enjoyed it. You want to fucking get involved in this shit show of a podcast? You can. You're going to email us. Jack, what's the email?
Oh, this might be like the saltiest.
Episode, yes. bestbuddiespod@gmail.com. Best
Excellent.
buddiespod@gmail.com.
Not the buddies one, as we always said before. And also Instagram. You want to get in touch with us on Instagram?
Yeah.
You can, because I post on Instagram every now and then.
Everyone loves
Where's that?
Instagram, right? Or more specifically, they like at Best Butties Pod.
He fucking knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it. What's your fucking Lord of the Rings? But there you go. So great. I'm glad everyone enjoyed this. What is the next episode? What's it going to be on, Brandon? Tell us if it's actually going to be on soft drinks.
Brandon enters second place.
I do. Oh, I need to update the scoreboard, boys.
Shitting Jesus, that's bad. I've got a tattoo of Lord of the Rings on my fucking ass, so that's not.
I mean, I need to win because I've got a really good idea for one. So
Well, we'll see what happens. Now, I'm not going to go with soft drinks because I think we've covered that suspiciously well.
Technically, we didn't. We spoke about Lilton Fanta.
Yeah,
and
but
Coke. There's
we
more to
prattled
that,
on
so.
a lot. So, I've been tying up between two ideas. Do we, not to give too much away, would you prefer the V or the DP?
is this our favourite jab? Are we back to that?
There's,
Yeah, we're back to fantasies again because I prefer DP to V.
we can go with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Let's go. Spit.
I'm going to go then, lads. Not quite as wide, but I think it should still be a spicy one. I'm going to go with Best Disney Princess, please.
Oh,
Best
okay.
Disney princess. Technically, I think Walt Disney also a Nazi, so we're really, really driving it home this episode.
Fucking Christ on a bike. Yeah. Disney princess.
Disney
That's a good one.
princess.
I like that.
You could probably have someone from Toy Story if you desired.
True, actually. Yeah,
Bring
true.
it back.
Next week, Rob brings Princess Tub from his.
It's me, Princess Fanta.
Are we going Disney princess or are we just going princess?
Because I will talk at length about Princess Diana.
The people's princess.
Yeah, the
I guess
people's princess.
that's why we can't. That's why we can't.
Nah, Disney princess. Disney.
All right, stepping away from
princess. Yeah, we've had multiple word stuff before.
Have we? Have we?
We have
Hyphenated
in
if
the
you
past,
want.
yeah.
Who cares? This whole thing's nonsense. It's Disney princess.
Fucking Jesus Christ. Oh dear.
Well, thank you,
I am
boys and
looking at
girls.
our things now.
Thanks.
We
everyone.
have. We've had Marvel superhero and animal combatants, but that's just because of technicalities. So yeah, Disney princess is fine.
Thanks.
You've been passed by Jack.
Thanks,
Yeah, because both of those
there
were
you go.
mine, so I can't.
Yeah.
There you go. Brilliant.
There you go.
Thanks for.
I like how the episode where we actually took time to try and be nice turned into the saltiest episode yet.
Look,
we had to
I'm
be
happy to have lost Lord of the Rings. Discworld losing to Toy Story. It's fucking disgusting. You should all go away and read one.
I can't believe that on the episode about fantasies that I didn't bring up my recurring meme on everyone's best Butties bingo card. Me mentioning Twinks. So there you go. I mentioned it.
there you go. A last minute.
yeah,
Oh, Rob being a furry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had a whole Quora tabs of Quora questions we could have gone through if we needed to fill time, but I think we're okay.
Did any? There was one thing I really thought about this.
Look,
just real
we've
quick.
tried to end.
Which, sorry, just really quick. When you said fantasy, I was really thinking about it a couple of days ago. I was like, maybe with fantasy setting, I could think of a settings layout of buttons on a fantasy game.
What?
Does that make sense?
No.
That's why I didn't.
so I was
that's why I
like-
didn't say
so
the word
this-
setting, because we would have.
Yeah, you
gone
see,
into
though-
fucking weeds on absolute boring tasks.
Do you mean like how we
was
all
gonna-
have different controller layouts for Smash
Control
Bros?
layouts, exactly. But instead, for MMOs, Guild Wars, because Guild Wars has the best button
No,
layout
please
because it was simple.
end the podcast.
Okay, thanks for listening. Listen to the next one. You've heard the email multiple times. You've heard the Instagram multiple times. Enjoy I Got a Stick with the vocals still in, unless somebody's taking them out. And we'll see you on the next one. Sound good?
Bye. I love you.
Bye, I love you.
Bye.
See ya.
Good lord.
I got a stick. Ooh, I got a stick. I got a stick.
Fucking Toy Story. Fuck you guys.